The year is 2892, and humanity has its footprint across galaxies, with colonies flourishing under the unified banner of the Galactic Human Empire, GHE. These are times of innovation and relative peace, marred only by minor disputes with alien civilizations at the borders. Zeltron, a lush and vibrant world at the frontier of human space, has become a melting pot of cultures, including those of the enigmatic Xiphorians from the neighboring star systems. On a calm and sunny day, the bustling market square of Zeltron's capital is shattered by a sudden blast. A Xiphorian patrol tasked with maintaining joint security clashes with local smugglers. Amidst the chaos, a stray plasma shot from a Xiphorian soldier's rifle veers off target, striking a human child who had been playing near a fountain. The incident is captured on dozens of civilian vid drones, streaming live across the galaxy. The imagery of the young girl's fall, her small body limp amidst the colorful market's ruins, ignites a firestorm of anger. Within hours, protests erupt on human worlds, their citizens outraged over the senseless death. The Galactic Human Empire, slow to respond and tepid in its initial investigations, faces growing public dissent. Accusations of weakness and calls for retribution spread like wildfire. High Command, located on Earth's moon, Luna, becomes a hive of activity. General Ava Stanton, overseeing off-world military operations, watches the unrest growing with a furrowed brow. In her office, adorned with relics of Earth's militaristic past and models of starships, she makes a decision that could alter the course of human history. "Prepare the echo chamber," she commands her aide, her voice a mix of resolve and dread. Deep beneath the lunar surface, in a facility carved from the rock itself, lies the echo chamber. It houses Echo Squad, 5 super soldiers, each a veteran of the Centauri conflicts, enhanced beyond natural human limits through cybernetics and gene editing. Cryogenically frozen in stasis pods designed to preserve their lethal skills, they are humanity's hidden blades, kept in slumber for a crisis worthy of their talents. General Stanton descends into the cold, blue-lit chamber where the pods align like the sarcophagi of ancient warriors. Approaching the first pod, she stares through the frost-covered glass at Captain Leo Phantom Mercer, the squad leader known for his unnerving calm and strategic brilliance. "Begin the revival process," she instructs the technician, her finger hesitantly pressing the authorization key that would awaken these titans of war. One by one, the pods hiss open, mist spilling onto the floor as the super soldiers draw their first breaths in decades. Leo's eyes flicker open, adapting rapidly to the dim light, the last echoes of battlefields fading from his vision. "Where are we needed?" Leo's voice is rough, cutting through the silence with urgency. "Zeltron and beyond," General Stanton replies, briefing him on the incident and the precarious situation with the Xiphorians. As the squad members regain their bearings, they are updated on the current galaxy geopolitical landscape, the technological advancements since their last awake, and the specifics of their mission, to prevent a war or win it decisively, should prevention fail. Outside the chamber, the galaxy watches and waits, unaware that the gears of war are slowly, yet irreversibly, beginning to turn. Echo Squad's revival is not just a response to a tragedy, but a signal, a declaration that the Galactic Human Empire will no longer stand idly by. The question remains, however, whether this show of force will deter their adversaries or ignite a conflict that will consume the stars. The super soldiers suit up, their minds processing years of change in mere hours, their bodies as lethal as the day they were last conscious. The game has changed, but the players are as deadly as ever. With humanity's hopes weighing heavily on their shoulders, they prepare to step into a galaxy brimming with old grudges and new enemies. The era of peace might be over, but the age of heroes is just beginning. In the depths of the echo chamber on Deimos, the air was thick with the hiss of decompressing cryopods and the sharp scent of ionized cold. The chamber, a stark contrast of shadow and blue light, buzzed with activity as technicians and medics scurried around the awakening giants of war. Captain Leo Phantom Mercer was the first to fully emerge from his cryogenic slumber. Standing over 6 feet tall, his presence was both imposing and composed, His eyes, one natural and one a glowing cybernetic replacement, scanned the room with calculated precision. The enhancements weren't just physical. Neural implants flickered to life in his brain, syncing with the base's secure network to update him on the decades he'd missed. Next to awaken was Maya Siren Lopez, whose reputation as a sharpshooter was legendary. Her eyes, genetically modified to see over vast distances and through varying light conditions, adjusted quickly to the sterile brightness of the chamber. A slight nod towards Leo signified her readiness, a silent dance they had performed countless times before. Henry Cypher Tran, the tech specialist, was slow to rise, his body momentarily rebelling against the decades of inertia. As the fog of cryo sleep cleared, his mind re-engaged with the vast databases he had memorized, algorithms and codes cascading through his thoughts as he recalibrated his internal systems. Marcus Titan Johnson, the powerhouse of the squad, unfolded himself from his pod with a grunt. His muscles, enhanced for maximum strength and endurance, tensed and relaxed as he tested his physical functions. A mechanical arm, sleek and powerful, whirred softly as he flexed it, the sound a soft promise of the destruction he was capable of unleashing. Lastly, Eliza Ghost Kim, the stealth operative, slipped from her pod almost unnoticed. Her movements were fluid and silent, a stark contrast to the mechanical precision of the others. Her eyes, one of which was cybernetically enhanced to interface with various forms of electronic surveillance, swept the room, taking stock of every exit and entry point without a sound. General Stanton stepped forward, her image of stoic command slightly softened by the sight of her elite squad back on their feet. "Welcome back, Echo Squad. You have a new mission," she announced, her voice reverberating off the cold metallic walls. The squad gathered around, their expressions varying from determined to intrigued, as Stanton laid out the details of their mission. The incident on Zeltron was not just a spark, but potentially the fuse to a galactic powder keg. Their task was to covertly enter Xiphorian territory, gather intelligence, and, if possible, find a diplomatic route to avert an all-out war. "We're not just preventing a conflict, we're potentially starting one on our terms if it comes to that," Leo stated, his voice calm but firm. "We need to be smart, precise, and invisible. We strike hard if we have to." Maya nodded in agreement, her mind already cycling through potential vantage points and sniper nests. Henry began listing the equipment they'd need, from cloaking devices to encrypted communicators. Marcus simply cracked his knuckles, a smile playing on his lips, ready for the physicality of what was to come. Eliza remained quiet, her thoughts already shadowing through the stealth paths they would take. The plan was set. Echo Squad would first head to the trading hubs near the Xiphorian border, using the chaotic neutral grounds as cover to slip through the Empire's tight security. They would disguise themselves as traders, smugglers even if need be, to gather information from the ground up. Their ship, the Phantom, once a herald of doom for their enemies, was being prepped for stealth mode, ready to carry them into the shadows. As the squad equipped themselves with the latest in warfare technology, Leo took a moment to address his team. "We are the first line of defense and possibly the last. We've held the line before. We'll do it again. Let's get to work." With that, Echo Squad, once relics of a bygone era of warfare, stepped forward into a new age of conflict. They were the shadow warriors of the galaxy, and their mission was clear: infiltrate, investigate, and eliminate any threats to the human race. The galaxy believed them to be myths, stories to scare the enemy into submission. But myths have a way of stepping off the pages of history books and into reality, and Echo Squad was very much real, very much alive, and very much deadly. The Phantom glided through the cosmos like a specter, its hull matte black and nearly invisible against the backdrop of deep space. Inside, Echo Squad prepped for their mission with a quiet efficiency that spoke of years in combat together, their movements synced and silent. The destination was Vortex, a rogue planet on the edge of Xiphorian space, known for its lawlessness and as a haven for those seeking to avoid the prying eyes of major galactic powers. It was the perfect place for Echo Squad to gather intelligence and disappear without a trace. Infiltration. As they neared Vortex, the squad went over their cover identities one last time. Leo would act as the leader of a band of mercenaries, with Marcus and Eliza posing as his muscle. Maya would be the sniper, a lookout and bodyguard, while Henry played the part of a tech-savvy navigator, a role not far off from his actual expertise. The Phantom docked at the spaceport of Nexus, Vortex's capital city, under the guise of routine refueling. The spaceport was a chaotic symphony of clashing alien cultures and technologies. Smugglers bartered openly with pirates, and information traded hands as quickly as the currency. Leo led the squad through the throngs of creatures and tech, his eyes sharp. "Keep your friends close and your potential enemies within sight," he murmured through the squad's encrypted communication link. Contact with the underworld. Their first stop was a dingy bar known as the Gullet. It was the kind of place that thrived on anonymity and the promise of no questions asked. Leo approached the bar, ordering drinks and making contact with the bartender, an old acquaintance from his days as a peacekeeper. "Looking for work," Leo hinted, sliding a pouch of credits across the bar. The bartender's eyes flicked to the pouch and then to the door behind him. "Dock C, midnight. Don't be followed," he grunted, pocketing the credits. Eliza and Marcus made a subtle sweep of the bar, their senses on high alert for any sign of trouble. Maya kept her back to the wall, eyes on the exits, while Henry tapped into the bar's unsecured network, pulling data and laying digital traps in case they needed to cover their tracks. Gathering intel at Dock C, the squad met with Yorick, a well-known fence with ties to the Zephyrian military. He was a sleazy type, typical of the fringe, but his information was valuable. He provided schematics of Zephyrian outposts and patrol routes, all stolen from a careless captain who'd had too much to drink. Eliza recorded the exchange with a hidden camera in her brooch, ensuring they had evidence of the plans. Henry transferred the payment, a set of encrypted data chips Yorick could sell for a high price. "Remember, this never happened," Yorick whispered, eyeing Marcus's towering form warily. "Wouldn't dream of it," Marcus replied, his voice a low rumble. As they left the dock, Maya felt the faint buzz of being watched. Using her enhanced sight, she scanned the shadows, catching a glimpse of a figure vanishing around a corner. "We've got a tail," she clicked through her subvocal mic. "Escape and evasion." With a possible compromise looming, the squad split up as planned. Marcus and Eliza headed towards the eastern docks where they could circle back to the Phantom. Leo and Maya took the western route to lay a misleading trail. Henry, meanwhile, made his way to a local tech bazaar to install a series of data bombs that would erase their digital footprints from Vortex's networks. Their maneuvers were calculated, each movement designed to confuse and disorient any followers. Eliza, with her stealth skills, doubled back and caught their tail, a low-level spy trying his luck. A quick, silent takedown ensured he wouldn't be reporting back to anyone. By the time they reconvened at the Phantom, the squad was confident they had managed to secure the necessary intel without leaving any traceable leads. The ship lifted off from Nexus, disappearing into the cold vastness of space once more. Analysis and next steps back aboard, the squad analyzed the stolen schematics. They identified a weakly guarded Zephyrian outpost on the edge of their territory. It would be their next target. The outpost was rumored to house communications logs and operational plans for the entire sector. "Time to go hunting," Leo declared, as the coordinates were set. The stakes were high, but Echo Squad was higher. They were phantoms, ghosts in the vast expanse of space, and they were on the move. The shadows of war loomed, but so did the hope of preventing a galactic upheaval. The mission on Vortex was just the beginning. With the Zephyrian outpost identified as their next target, Echo Squad's mission shifted from reconnaissance to infiltration. The outpost, located on the desert planet of Syrinx, was to be the site of a lavish gala hosted by the Zephyrians to celebrate their recent military expansions. It was the perfect opportunity for the squad to get close to their high-value targets, undetected. Preparation and disguise. Back aboard the Phantom, the squad ditched their mercenary disguises for more refined attire, suitable for a Zephyrian gala. Henry, with his tech wizardry, crafted digital invitations complete with authentic security codes they had skimmed during their escapade on Vortex. Each member was given a new identity complete with background stories that could withstand casual scrutiny. Maya took on the guise of a sharp-eyed diplomatic attaché, her elegant dress hiding an array of concealed weapons and her enhanced eyesight more than capable of spotting threats from across the room. Leo transformed into a charming trade envoy, his charismatic demeanor a mask for his strategic mind, always planning several moves ahead. Marcus and Eliza posed as bodyguards for a high-ranking dignitary, which wasn't far from the truth, considering their real mission. Henry played the part of a tech magnate, eager to discuss logistics and software with the outpost's commanders. Arrival at Syrinx. As they landed on Syrinx, the harsh desert winds whipped against the sleek surface of the Phantom, now disguised as a luxury transport ship. The outpost was a fortress of elegance in the barren landscape, its walls reflecting the setting sun with a golden glow. They were greeted by robotic servants and guided through security with ease, thanks to Henry's preparations. Inside, the gala was a spectacle of opulence, with flowing alien liquors, exotic foods, and a mingling of the galaxy's most influential figures, both human and alien. The gala begins. Leo and Maya split from the group to work the room. Leo engaged with military officials, charming them with anecdotes of fabricated trade deals, and subtly probing for information about fleet movements and military strengths. Maya, with her enhanced hearing, listened in on conversations, picking up scraps of information about potential weaknesses in the Zephyrian military infrastructure. Meanwhile, Marcus and Eliza circulated around the edges of the gala, their eyes sharp for any sign of the outpost's security details. They identified the locations of surveillance nodes and the patterns of the patrolling guards, all while maintaining the facade of dutiful bodyguards. Henry, with his fake identity as a tech magnate, managed to secure a private meeting with the outpost's head of communications, claiming an interest in purchasing software for data encryption. Inside the officer's office, he expertly navigated the conversation towards security protocols, all while installing a stealthy back door into the outpost's mainframe. The confrontation. As the evening progressed, the squad regrouped to share their findings. They had pinpointed the location of the communications logs and confirmed that the outpost commander would be making a speech at the end of the gala. This was their chance to sneak into the secure areas, while attention was diverted. Just as they prepared to enact their plan, an unexpected complication arose. A group of Zephyrian guards approached Leo, suspicion clear in their eyes. They had detected an anomaly in one of the guests' invitation codes. Quick on his feet, Leo feigned ignorance, a perfect look of baffled indignation on his face, claiming that there must have been a mix-up at the invitation printing service. Marcus and Eliza moved in, apologizing for the confusion and assuring the guards that they would handle their employer's documentation. With a mixture of Marcus's intimidating presence and Eliza's soothing words, they managed to convince the guards to let them rectify the issue privately. With the immediate threat quelled, the squad used the commotion as cover to slip away. Leo and Maya headed to disable the communications array to create a blackout period. Henry and Eliza accessed the secure data storage, downloading the communications logs. Marcus stood watch, his imposing figure enough to deter any would-be interrupters. The mission completed just as the outpost commander took the stage to give his speech. Echo Squad regrouped and exfiltrated the gala amidst the applause, blending into the crowd of attendees. As they left the glowing fortress behind, the outpost's systems began to come back online, the security breach undetected amongst the festivities' remnants. Back on the Phantom, the squad debriefed, reviewing the data they had extracted. They had secured vital intelligence on the Zephyrian Empire's plans, enough to give the galactic human empire the upper hand. But more importantly, they had struck a silent blow, proving even the mightiest could be outfoxed. As they set their course back to GHE space, Echo Squad was already planning their next move in the shadowy game of galactic espionage. Aboard the Phantom, now streaking away from Syrinx with the stealth of a shadow in the night, Echo Squad convened in the main briefing room. where Henry had set up multiple data streams from the intelligence they had gathered at the gala. The room buzzed with the quiet intensity of a war room on the eve of battle, analyzing the data. The communications logs were dense, encrypted heavily, but not enough to deter Henry's expertise. As he decrypted the files, a grim picture began to emerge. The Xiphorians were not merely bolstering their defenses, but planning an offensive aimed at key human colonies. The logs outlined a series of strikes intended to cripple human military capabilities and sow chaos, clearing the way for a full-scale invasion. Their plans are detailed and set to commence within the Galactic Standard Month. "We need to act fast," Henry reported, his usual calm demeanor replaced with urgency. Leo paced the room, processing the information. "We need to get this intel back to General Stanton immediately. This isn't just about border skirmishes anymore. They're planning a war." Maya, reviewing the tactical maps included in the data, pinpointed the targets. "These colonies are on the outer rim. They're lightly defended and crucial for supply chains. If the Xiphorians take them, they'll cut off several of our fleets." Marcus cracked his knuckles, a spark in his eyes. "Then we know what we need to do. We strike first, hit them where it hurts, and throw off their plans." Eliza nodded, her mind on the countless lives at each colony. "We also need to warn these colonies. They need to evacuate civilians and fortify their defenses." A plan of action. Leo finalized their course of action. "Henry, send a burst transmission to General Stanton with our findings. Encrypt it with the highest security protocols. Maya, work with Marcus to start planning potential counterstrikes. We may need to hit those Xiphorian bases sooner rather than later. Eliza, you and I will work on evacuation plans for the colonies. We need to get those civilians out safely." The squad split up to their tasks, each member focused and efficient. The Phantom's communications array hummed as Henry sent the encrypted message to GHE High Command, every second counting down to an impending conflict. Revelations and warnings. Within hours, General Stanton's response came through. Her hologram flickered to life in the briefing room, her expression grave. "Echo Squad, your findings have been corroborated by our other sources. The Council has been informed and fleets are mobilizing to defend the colonies. Your new orders are to assist in the defense and prepare for a possible counteroffensive. Excellent work, but the hard part starts now." Leo acknowledged the orders. "We'll head to the nearest colony and coordinate the defenses there. Time to prepare for a long fight." As the Phantom changed course, heading towards the endangered colonies, tension rose amongst the squad members. They were soldiers, yes, but the stakes were personal now. Each colony was home to thousands, and the squad was all too aware of the cost of failure. Mobilizing defenses. Arriving at the first colony on their list, Echo Squad wasted no time. Maya and Marcus took command of the local militia, drilling them on defensive tactics and helping to set up anti-aircraft guns and missile systems. Henry and Eliza focused on establishing secure communications and evacuating civilians to underground shelters. The colony's governor, a stern woman with years of frontier life etching her face, met with Leo. "They'll be here any day now. Your help is welcomed, Captain Mercer." Leo nodded, his gaze steady. "We'll do everything we can to protect this colony. Get your people to safety, Governor. We'll handle the Xiphorians." Night before the storm. That night, as the colony braced for the assault, Echo Squad reviewed their plans. The Xiphorians were cunning and ruthless, but the squad was determined. In the quiet before the storm, they checked their equipment, loaded their weapons, and set their resolve. Marcus looked at his teammates, a rare smile breaking through his usually stoic demeanor. "We've been through worse, haven't we?" Maya nodded, her sniper rifle by her side. "We always come out on top. Let's keep that record." As dawn broke over the colony, the first signs of the Xiphorian fleet appeared on the horizon. The squad took their positions, ready to defend the colony, ready to fight, ready to win. The battle for the galaxy had just begun, and Echo Squad was on the front lines where they belonged. The secrets they had unraveled on Syrinx now laid bare the full threat of the Xiphorian Empire, but they were ready to face it head-on. The war to protect humanity was underway, and Echo Squad was its vanguard. As the first light of dawn painted the skies over the frontier colony, the distant hum of the Xiphorian fleet grew into a deafening roar. The residents, having evacuated to underground shelters, left the colony eerily silent, save for the bustling movements of Echo Squad and the militia preparing their defenses. Today, they were not just defending a colony, they were safeguarding the future of human space. The onslaught begins. The Xiphorians, confident in their numerical superiority, commenced their attack with a barrage of heavy artillery. The ground shook under the relentless pounding, dust and debris clouding the air. But the humans were ready. Maya and Marcus had positioned the anti-aircraft guns strategically, and now these weapons did their deadly dance, ripping through the morning sky to meet the descending fury of the Xiphorians. Henry, stationed at a mobile command center, coordinated the defense efforts. His fingers danced over holographic displays, rerouting power and reinforcing shields. "Hold the line," he transmitted to all units, his voice a steady beacon amidst the chaos. Echo Squad's counterattack. As the ground forces engaged, Leo and Eliza slipped through the enemy's flanks in a high-speed rover, cloaked in the latest stealth technology. Their mission was critical: sabotage the Xiphorian command ship, which had landed at the far edge of the colony, overseeing the assault. Reaching the ship was perilous, with Xiphorian drones patrolling the perimeter. Eliza, her body a blur, moved through the shadows, disabling the drones with precise, silent takedowns. Leo planted explosive charges along the ship's hull, timed to cripple, but not destroy. Their goal was to create confusion, not annihilation. Marcus and Maya's stand back at the front lines. Marcus wielded a heavy repeater blaster, his form a bulwark against the Xiphorian ground troops. Beside him, Maya's sniper fire was a whisper of death, each shot finding its mark among the enemy commanders, sowing disorder. As a Xiphorian detachment broke through the northern barricade, Marcus shifted, intercepting them with a roar. His mechanical arm, enhanced for strength, swung with devastating force, sending Xiphorians flying. Maya provided cover, her shots precise and deadly, her eyes cold and unyielding. The turning tide. With the command ship sabotaged, confusion reigned among the Xiphorian forces. Leo and Eliza used the chaos to their advantage, exfiltrating back to the colony's defenses. The explosion of the command ship rippled through the Xiphorian ranks, their coordination faltering without their leader's directives. Seizing the moment, Henry unleashed the colony's drone fleet, a swarm of tiny but lethal machines that harried the Xiphorian soldiers, further tilting the battle in their favor. The Nexus Station Gambit. With the battle turning, Echo Squad received new orders from General Stanton. The Nexus Station, a Xiphorian logistical hub orbiting the planet, was vulnerable without the command ship's support. Capturing the station would sever Xiphorian supply lines and provide the GHE with crucial intelligence. Without hesitation, Echo Squad boarded the Phantom, rocketing towards Nexus Station. The space battle was brief and brutal. Henry, taking the pilot's seat, navigated through debris and enemy fire, his skills as a pilot as formidable as his hacking prowess. Boarding the station, Echo Squad moved with lethal precision. Eliza hacked the station's security, turning its defenses against the remaining Xiphorian troops. Leo and Marcus led the charge to the control room, engaging in fierce close-quarters combat. Maya secured the communication arrays, sending a signal to the GHE fleet, now moving to consolidate the victory. Victory and aftermath. With the station secured and the Xiphorian forces in disarray, the battle for the colony and Nexus Station ended in a decisive human victory. The captured station provided not only a strategic advantage, but also invaluable data on Xiphorian operations across the sector. Exhausted but resolute, Echo Squad set up defenses on the station, preparing for any potential counterattacks. The victory at Nexus was a turning point in the war, a testament to human resilience and the strategic brilliance of Echo Squad. As they regrouped aboard the Phantom, their eyes turned towards the stars, aware that this victory was but one battle in a much larger war. But for now, they had earned a moment of respite, a brief pause in the eye of the storm that was to come. The squad looked to each other, their bond strengthened by the battle, their resolve hardened. "We did good today," Leo said, his voice filled with pride and fatigue. "Let's get ready for the next round. This war isn't over yet." Echo Squad, their names not known to many but their deeds becoming the stuff of legends, prepared for the next challenge. The Battle of Nexus Station was over, but the war for the galaxy's heart was just beginning. The victory at Nexus Station rippled across the galaxy, signaling a turning point in the war against the Zephyrian Empire. Echo Squad, now heralded as heroes of the Galactic Human Empire, GHE, returned to the Central Command on Luna, where they were greeted not just with medals, but with the heavy burden of their next responsibilities. Celebration amidst sorrow. The celebrations were bittersweet. While the media broadcasted their images across human colonies, celebrating the bravery and the strategic genius of the Echo Squad, the team themselves took no joy in the fanfare. Each member felt the weight of the lives lost, both human and Zephyrian, during the battles. They knew that real victory was not in destruction, but in achieving lasting peace. General Stanton debriefed them privately, her expression solemn. "Your actions have given us an advantage, but the Zephyrian Empire is reeling, not defeated. We must use this time to broker peace, or this cycle of violence will only continue." Leo nodded, his thoughts already turning to the diplomatic channels that would need to be opened. "We'll need assurances of their withdrawal from human territories and guarantees of non-aggression." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of diplomatic meetings, with Echo Squad often serving as both security and advisors, due to their intimate knowledge of Zephyrian strategies. Eliza and Henry worked tirelessly to decode and translate communications, ensuring the GHE had the upper hand in negotiations. Maya and Marcus, meanwhile, trained the next generation of soldiers and operatives, imparting the harsh lessons they had learned about warfare and the importance of strategy over brute force. During a critical summit on the neutral planet of Viridian 3, Leo represented the GHE in preliminary peace talks with the Zephyrian commanders. The negotiations were tense, with both sides wary, but Leo's direct approach, informed by his experiences, helped bridge the gap. "We seek no further conflict," Leo stated, his voice firm. "Let this war end with us, not our children." Weeks of negotiations finally led to the signing of the Treaty of Viridian, officiated under the watchful eyes of the Galactic Coalition, a multi-species organization dedicated to preserving peace across the galaxy. The treaty included the withdrawal of Zephyrian forces from all occupied territories, a mutual non-aggression pact, and the establishment of a demilitarized zone monitored by the Coalition. As the treaty was signed, cameras flashed, capturing the historic moment. Echo Squad stood behind the delegates, their expressions reserved, aware that the real work would begin now, ensuring the treaty held and rebuilding the lives of those affected by the war. After the summit, Echo Squad returned to Luna, where they were quietly decommissioned. Their cryopods were powered down, this time not as weapons of war, but as monuments to the hope for lasting peace. Leo visited the memorial erected for the victims of the war, including the young girl from Zeltron, whose death had ignited the conflict. He placed a white rose by her name, a promise to never forget the costs of war. "We did it, kid," he murmured. "No more will suffer as you did." Each member of Echo Squad took up new roles, helping to strengthen the galaxy's defenses and train new peacemakers. Maya became an instructor at the GHE's elite sniper school. Marcus headed a task force designed to integrate Zephyrian soldiers into the Coalition forces. And Eliza and Henry joined the Galactic Coalition's peacekeeping task force. Years later, the galaxy prospered in an era of unprecedented peace. Echo Squad's legacy lived on, not just in the stories told of their bravery, but in the echoes of their ideals carried forward by those they taught and inspired. At the museum on Earth, where the echo chamber was now on display, a group of schoolchildren listened in awe to the tale of the super soldiers who had once slept in cryosleep, only to awaken and turn the tide of a galaxy-spanning war. Their teacher, a veteran who had served under Echo Squad, smiled as she watched the children's wide-eyed excitement. And that, kids, is how legends are made, not just by winning wars, but by forging peace. Echo Squad, a name that had once struck fear into the hearts of enemies, now stood for courage, sacrifice, and the enduring hope that peace was possible. They had awakened as soldiers, but their greatest victory was as peacemakers, teaching a galaxy tormented by war the value of peace. As stars shone brightly over the peaceful galaxy, the tales of Echo Squad served as a reminder of the dark times from which they had emerged and the light they had brought forth. In schools, homes, and halls of power, they were remembered not just as warriors, but as heroes who had dared to dream of peace and made it a reality for all.